Thank you so much for joining us on this inaugural episode of TCG Cast, formerly known as Lorcana Cast. Now, we want to make sure everyone who's listening knows we are not going to stop talking about Lorcana. We're just adding some new games into the mix. One of the big reasons we started Lorcana Cast was because we had a team of people who just loved talking about games. And over the course of the last year, as we've recorded multiple episodes, we have continuously been talking about multiple games off the clock. And we decided, why don't we just turn that into a brand new podcast? So we're rebranding Lorcana Cast into TCG Cast so that we can talk about games like Lorcana, Star Wars Unlimited, Sorcery, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and so on and so forth. So for this first inaugural episode, we are so excited to announce that we had a chance to interview Jeremy Xander and Xander from Fantasy Flight Games, two people who are working on the brand new trading card game, Star Wars Unlimited. And we are also very, very thankful for them bringing two special cards that have never before been seen or heard of on this episode. So stay tuned for a great interview with the designers, as well as card spoilers for Star Wars Unlimited. All right, everybody, this is a very exciting first episode of TCG Cast. It is the pilot episode, and we are joined by a very excellent crew. We have got Greg and James Reimer here as our co-pilots. How are y'all doing this evening?
I see what you did there with the co-pilot, keeping it on theme for what we're going to be talking about this episode. But yeah, we're doing great. It's a wonderful way to liven up my Tuesday evening. So happy to be here.
Definitely. A very Star Wars holiday. Super excited about this time of season, and with Star Wars Unlimited coming out very, very soon. Yeah,
and we've got two scruffy-looking Nerf herders who smuggled their way onto the show. And we'd like to introduce our friends Xander and Jeremy from Fantasy Flight Games. How are y'all doing? Tell everybody all about yourselves and what y'all been working on with this Star Wars Unlimited game.
Yeah, so I'm Xander Tabler. I am the community engagement specialist for FFG. I am the one who, works with all the content creators who are making such amazing videos and podcasts and articles about the game already, with even the limited information that's been out there for the last couple of months. So it's really been cool to see. And a lot of my work revolves around making sure that people in the community have the information that they want or maybe the information that they need whenever they ask for it. And and I'm here, just to hang out and chat a little bit about Star Wars Unlimited and join, the real star of the show is Jeremy Xander over here.
Yeah, I'm Jeremy. I'm a senior game designer at Fantasy Flight Games. I've been working on Star Wars Unlimited for several years now. I've also worked on a number of other card games. Star Wars Destiny, I was lead designer on that game for about a few years. I've also worked on Arkham Horror LCG, Lord of the Rings LCG, a little bit Marvel Champions LCG. And yeah, it's been a blast working on Star Wars Unlimited, so it's great to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on. Now, our show used to be very focused specifically on the Lorcana trading card game, and now we're pivoting to talk about all trading card games. So if someone is listening to this episode and they don't know anything about Star Wars Unlimited, what's the elevator pitch? What is the draw that someone listening should, definitely go check out this amazing game?
Well, it's a new Star Wars trading card game. It's a fast-paced game. It's very highly interactive. You get to take on one of your personalities in Star Wars as a leader, start some play. So you get to build your deck around a very fun, cool, popular, iconic character from Star Wars, and then get to battle against your opponents. It's a competitive card game, trying to destroy each other's base. First person to wins the game. And yeah, it's a game that can be played in many ways. You can play head-to-head, you can do multiplayer, you can play draft or sealed, constructed, so a lot of fun ways to play the game.
So are you saying that all of those formats are built right out of the gate? So we could do a group game or a tournament or a draft or sealed event with set one?
Yeah, that's definitely a goal of this game, is to play in multiple ways. And yeah, we definitely love playing games in all sorts of different ways. We have a lot of time and effort put into different formats, so I'm very excited to see the players delve into these variety of ways to play the game.
Okay, very, very cool. All right, so we are going to do a couple of things in this episode. We have a bunch of questions that we're going to ask the designers, and we've also got a couple of interesting spoilers that we're going to be talking about later in the middle of the show. So definitely keep your ears locked and loaded because it's going to be a banger. So first off, let's kick it over to Greg. You've got a fantastic question to lead off this episode. So let him have it, man.
Yeah, so one of my favorite things about trading card games, at large, are just kind of the different resource systems that they choose to implement, like how you can pay for the cost of your cards in the game. And so Star Wars Unlimited is actually pretty interesting because players start with 2 resource in the resource row, and then of course that builds over the course of the game, kind of like a linear progression there. But what is the main reason, or reasons if there's several, for deciding to start players with 2 resource as opposed to the typical 1 found in many other card games out there?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the biggest reasons to get more variety on turn 1. If you only start with 1 resource, a lot of times you don't have a card to play, or both players might have no cards to play, nothing to do. It's just kind of like a bummer if the whole turn 1 is just pass, and or take an initiative pass, and all right, on to round 2. It's fun to have a variety of options. So we start with an extra resource, opens up plenty of options. Now you can play a 2-cost card instead of doing nothing in turn 1, or play 2 1-cost cards, or a 1-cost card. Now, hey, that card was a villain card. I can trigger Darth Vader's ability. Cool, I can do that as well now instead of just nothing. Also give a little bit of head starts to the game, like get your big expensive cards come a little bit sooner. Your leader can deploy it maybe a little bit sooner, so it can if you like the game is progressing a little bit quicker than starting with just 1 resource. Also, if somebody does play, if it was only 1 resource and somebody played like a Death Star Stormtrooper turn 1, the opponent didn't have anything to do, that's a huge advantage. Like that's a very powerful card to have on your opponent if they do nothing turn 1, and then it can really kind of make games harder to come back from if they get a quick start like that. It also makes you, sometimes deck building can be very interesting too. Like you don't have to put any 1-cost cards in your deck. If you start with 2 resources, just put a bunch of 2-cost cards. You can still optimize resources, be very efficient. If you only start with 1 resource, I think a lot of decks would put a lot more 1-cost cards in their deck to try to optimize the resources every round, which I think, starting with 2 resources gives more flexibility to players, more deck building options, and it kind of ramps up the game a little bit quicker from the get-go.
Yeah, I think those are all some great answers. And one thing that I potentially thought about, and you can tell me if I'm on target or off base with it, is that, typically when we see the 1 resource idea in other games, it's like the cost, or I guess cost addition to playing 2 cost cards as compared to the 1 cards. It's a full 100% like increasing cost there. And so when you start with 2 resources, it kind of makes the scaling, or at least from an internal design perspective, probably a little bit easier, because going from 2 to 3 cost is only, a 50% increase, going from 2 to 3. And so like, I think really kind of, what's been an issue in trading card game design in the past is like, having 2-cost cards being 100% more expensive to play. And it's like, okay, well, is that card 100% better? Question mark. And so I think that may be also an interesting factor as well. And of course I, wholeheartedly, believe that you guys have like this cool, math function running in the background to kind of design cost cards, things like that. But of course, all the suite of the other reasons that you mentioned, deck building diversity, making sure that the tempo doesn't swing too much in one person's favor or another, kind of those reasons as well, just add more to the reason why having the 2 resources there to start off with just kind of lets you start off the game right in Star Wars Unlimited. And so I think it's really awesome that, you can always kind of start the game, always have things to play. And of course the resource row just being there to always have, you can always choose to commit to the resource row. Just always makes for some fast paced and exciting games.
Yeah. So I'm relatively new to the Star Wars Unlimited hype train, so believe it or not. And I'll be honest with you, the 1 card that actually was sort of the gateway for me was seeing I Am Your Father. There was something so thematic and flavorful about that made me go, wow, I really need to learn about this game. And I've been diving in deep with the TCG Cast team here. And I was curious, like, do cards that are thematic like I Am Your Father, do they start off as kind of bottoms up or tops down? Do you start with the mechanics? Do you start with the flavor of like the moment from the films? How do you usually go about designing cards?
Oh, that card in particular, yes. So it was completely just top down. I like to try to capture certain moments from Star Wars lore, so that's clearly a very pivotal moment. I'm your father, so it's like, all right, we have a card title, and what should that do? What could reflect that? So I came up with the idea like almost very quickly, or just this kind of weird, silly card effect. Like, do I try to have the players reenact that moment? Like, would that be too weird, too goofy? I'm like, yeah, probably, but I'll just throw it to my teammates and see what they say. And we were both like, hey, that sounds really interesting. That sounds a lot of fun. Like, yeah, let's try it. So we kind of started playtesting with it, and then it seems like a lot of people really gravitated towards the card. It was like, wow, this is really fun. This is cool. It's kind of unexpected. Like, all right, if people are like this, let's just keep going with it. And before you know, like, yeah, it seemed like everybody was on board, and even everyone on the team, playtesters, higher ups, like people really seem to gravitate towards this kind of silly, goofy card that just was fun. So then, that card just came from the just trying to reenact the moments in the movies there. And then it was one of the funnest things was going to Gen Con this year for the first time to actually play the game in person and then see people play the game. So that card would come up, and playing time is all throughout the weekend. You'd hear people, yelling, "No!" There goes another one. People really get into it. Yeah, they really want to. Feel like this is their Luke and screaming back and take that Vader. And so, it was really cool to see that moment and then have it happen all throughout the weekend. And I went to Back Some Plug recently as well. And same thing happened there over and over. Here, no. So, that card just seemed to just click right away. It just came out of nowhere and just, wow, to be perfect. So,
That's the toughest part about that card for me is that even when it isn't the best play to say no, I'm still so tempted to just scream it. I still just want to do it. Yeah.
Now, James, you got to tell us what that card does so people who are listening go, oh, I understand why they're talking about saying no, it's your opponent.
So it's a 3-cost villainy card that says deal 1 damage to an enemy unit unless its controller says no. And if they do, draw 3 cards. And I thought that was amazing. It was one of the first cards that I actually really looked at in detail. And from that point on, I've been deep diving into the game, playing as much as I can, and talking about it with this crew here.
So I think it's a lot of fun to design cards top down, try to get the theme and flavor in there as much as possible. So, but sometimes do the opposite. We just need just a simple effect in the game, like open fire. Just using a card that just simple and just deal 4 damage a unit. And all right, so we have the mechanic down, just deal 4 damage a unit. Now let's give a theme to it, just a simple where stormtroopers shooting. So we do both. But I do like to try to do more top down if possible because we want to make sure themes are very important for a lot of people, and we want to really imbue that in the game as much as we can.
Love it. Thanks for sharing that story.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about your design for cards using top down, bottom up, either mechanics first or theme first. Something that was interesting is when I was at Gen Con, I had a chance to talk to you, Jeremy, about the design for the leaders. This is a very critical part of the deck building process because your leader provides a lot of things to your game experience, your deck building experience. And you were talking a little bit about how the representation of the card in the game comes from like a snapshot depending on the source material. So it could be a character during a movie, it could be a character during a television show or a book or a video game or whatever, and use this interesting term called snapshot, where the card design is basically mimicking a snapshot of something happening in the source material. Where did that idea come from, especially since a majority of card games try and have a very singular character that is like an overall representation of a character, and so they're trying to pack like everything into one card, and it definitely feels more like you're taking the character as is and segmenting it into like, here's Luke when he fights his dad and gets his hand cut off, or here's a Luke where he's a Jedi, or here's a Luke where he's going to the Tashi station and get some power converters. So you can kind of play around with characters in those moments and not be locked into like, here's this Luke Skywalker for the next like 3 sets, and you can only do this very specific thing because we're trying to like encapsulate that character.
Yeah, that came on, I think, really early on. We know this is a card game, so we'd have lots of cards to make. We'll have 3 sets a year, and then the game should go on for many, many years. So, and then Star Wars is full of awesome, cool characters, but there's clearly some that are super popular. They want to have multiple versions of. So I think early on, like, we can clearly make different versions by just choosing specific time periods or moments in that character's life. So like you mentioned Luke Skywalker, that's a perfect example. Like, he clearly goes through many different phases as he grows up and becomes eventually a Jedi. So in set 1 alone, we have Luke the leader, where he's not a Jedi yet. That's the Empire Strikes Back version. But then we have a unit version of Luke, where he's a Jedi. So we wanted to make sure each version kind of encapsulated that moment. So I think, we had just kind of term snapshot moments kind of came along, and we're like, that feels very good to help express, that many characters will have multiple versions, and a lot of these versions will be different. And one way to show that off is through specific moments. We have like Han Solo, leader in set 1. That's his, smuggler version, kind of classic Han Solo flying the Falcon. But in the future, we'll do other versions. It's pretty much guaranteed we'll eventually do like a general solo version and various other versions throughout the upcoming sets. It's just it's a fun way to be able to zone in on certain moments in Star Wars and try to design a card around that and show it off, and then over the course of many years, you'll be able to put those cards, look at them all individually, then as a whole, and maybe even see an arc potentially, maybe Luke's story arc eventually across many cards, and maybe put all those cards in one deck. It's up to you.
Do you feel that having that flexibility gives you freedom as a designer to express different variations of characters, or is it maybe a little bit more difficult because you have to make sure you don't, throw everything out too quickly, and you definitely save certain abilities and colors and combinations of things, so that way the character is always interesting in the different iterations as they come out? Because I'm sure there could be a red Luke, a blue Luke, a green Luke, a yellow Luke, a neutral Luke. I mean, like, there's so many different potential snapshots of his character over the course of many movies and source material that, like, I'm so excited to see what you guys come up with. But do you find that to be a hindrance or a help?
I find it very helpful. Like, I think it's much more pressure if we only could do one Luke for the entire game's life, or even just for the first year or two. Since that's a lot more pressure to try and nail. I mean, just to choose which version, like how you figure that out, and try to nail a version with just ideally just one mechanic or one centrally focused idea. So it's much easier to know, no, this is just this one version. We can do another version or plenty other versions in the future, so we don't have to have as much pressure in nailing Luke with this one card to define such an iconic character. So I like to have the flexibility to, and that design card is, to me, is very easy. It's always one of the toughest things is to cut back on your ideas. You have way too many ideas that can fit into a set or whatnot. So I think it's much easier to have the flexibility to design multiple versions and find what ideas that fit those versions, and trying to cut back all the way down to just like a single idea or mechanic for such a really cool character.
Awesome.
Yeah, talking more about the rules of the Star Wars Unlimited system itself. Of course, the action-based initiative system is a huge selling point of the game. I believe it was present in Star Wars Destiny, a previous game that Fantasy Flight worked on. And so my main question here is, so far, what is your favorite play experience or just interaction between cards or players that has resulted from Star Wars Unlimited's unique initiative system?
One of my favorite things is if I really want to go take the initiative, go first next round, how much am I willing to give up in the current round to make sure I can do that? I mean, sometimes you have 2 or 3 units that are ready that can attack. You want to, of course, deal as much damage as you can, but if you really want to take the initiative, sometimes you have to give up some of those actions to make sure you can before your opponent takes the initiative. So it can be a lot of fun mind games, trying to predict what your opponent's going to do, like how badly they want to take the initiative, how much do you think they're willing to give up? Are they willing to give up 1 attack? Probably 2 attacks, maybe 3 attacks, unlikely, but I don't know. It depends. It can really have to adapt to the moment and try to predict what your opponent's going to do. Then sometimes it depends on what cards in hand as well. Like that can be, they have like a cunning in hand that going first can be very powerful to exhaust a couple of opponent's units, and maybe balance the third units as well. It can be such a great first action play to do for a round. So sometimes trying to predict what's in their hand, or trying to bluff what's in mine, or even just bluffing too. That's something that I like too. You can pass. That's one of the funnest things to do, just to pass out of nowhere, and your opponent's like, wait, what? Why are you doing that? And like, am I bluffing, or is there a reason I'm doing that? Like sometimes it's hard to know. So I love the pass option sometimes can be the opposite, where it's like, I want to glean some more information, or make them play a unit so I can use my removal spell on that unit this turn. But my opponent might not know that, so they're like, what are you doing? Or else maybe I have nothing at all. I'm just just pass, just to try to make them do something suboptimal play. And so the initiative system works a lot of cool ways like that, where you can definitely, it depends on the moments, and then on your opponent, the players, and then sometimes mind games can play a factor in it.
I think the pass out of nowhere is pretty funny, especially because when you do it, it's like, okay, well, if they choose to pass, then we're both kind of just at square, step 1 again, where we get our cards, get our resource, and like I'm sure that there's definitely those pivotal moments during gameplay where it's like, if they choose to pass in return, then I'm completely fine with kind of what's currently on the table. I'm comfortable with, kind of my hand, my resources, my cards on field, both in land and space. And so, I think you definitely highlighted really well just kind of all the intricacies. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more in the set and, in further boosters for Star Wars Unlimited. But, just at a baseline, that like there's just so much here as well.
Yes, Xander, do you have anything you want to chime in about?
Oh yeah, I would definitely say for the some of my favorite stuff with the back and forth action system, I think it's no secret that Grand Admiral Thrawn is my favorite leader in set 1. And just being able to, for those who don't know, his ability is to pay you. You know the top cards of you and your opponent's decks, and you can reveal one of them and pay one resource to exhaust a unit that costs equal to or less than that. And just forcing your opponent into suboptimal plays because they think you might be able to exhaust their biggest unit is some of my favorite like mind games, like Jeremy was mentioning, is like if I can get you to think that I'm going to do something bad to you, you might try to react in a different way, and I might not have even the option to, but it's just keeping you on your toes the entire game and making you play suboptimally is some of the best parts of this game, because the game doesn't come down to always what you played, but what order you played and how you played them. And I think that's probably like the most unique thing about the game.
So this one's for Xander. When it comes to TCG's, community is one of the biggest factors for me in terms of building it locally. I'm sure I'll be doing the same with Star Wars Unlimited. You guys have been doing an amazing job cultivating it so far between the live streams, just being transparent about how product will work. And I'm curious, just like, what are your top priorities in terms of cultivating a healthy community for Star Wars Unlimited? And what's sort of your dream scenario of everything playing out the way you want it to when it launches?
Yeah, great question. So top priorities, I have always said that we want to make sure that this community is a very welcoming and open space. We don't want this to ever feel like there's this in-group of people that have been playing or watching or been a part of this since the beginning. And then there's people that are hopping on in this two very separate groups. We want to make sure that everyone's coming in, getting the love and resources that they're looking for in a community. Because that's what you want. You want to be welcomed. You want to be feeling like you're a part of something bigger than you as you're playing this game. It is competitive, but there's so much community to be built around it. And some of my like the dream scenarios is I want everyone to see us as a part of that community. I don't want it to ever feel like Fantasy Flight Games or Asmodee as a whole is just like, we're putting out product and we're telling you, oh, here's the rules, and then we're letting you go and have fun and do nothing. Like, we're not saying anything else. We're just letting it happen. It's very much been a goal of ours to make sure you know who we are, what people's personalities are like, what cards they like to play with, all the fun things from people that like are also wanting to play this game with you all. And so that's been really fun, and going to a bunch of conventions. We were just at PAX Unplugged earlier this month, Jeremy, myself, and it was so much fun getting to sit down with people and really crank through some games with the demo decks. And while it was a limited card pool, it's just great, like getting to talk to people about, hey, I saw you on the live stream. I really enjoyed this X, Y, and Z, or I loved seeing this card. Is there more things coming? And answering the questions as much as we can and really getting into it and enjoying this idea of like, we are all excited for this release, and it's not just us putting out a product. We are a part of this community as well. And so definitely a dream scenario is that everyone sees that from our side of things.
It's beautiful. Well, we're definitely seeing it. Honestly, that's one of the other things, besides the amazing card design that sold me on this game. It's been the community and how you guys have approached that with so much care and just so much thoughtfulness with the live streams, with the transparency, products, how packs are going to open up, how you guys thought about draft. It's just all amazing so far. So really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been really fun. And Jeremy's probably sick of me dragging him around to events.
Enough's enough, yeah.
Keep dragging Jeremy to all the events.
I'm trying to, the whole team.
Yep.
It's been fun traveling with the whole team too. It's been really cool to see like fans from other old games coming back, and just as we slowly build up this community. I mean, we've got such a great community of content creators around the game already, and we're 2.5 months from release. So
wow.
Can't wait.
Yeah,
Oh,
I do want to
man.
kind of add on to James' point as well, where it's like you guys are doing all this stuff pre-launch too, because I know that some games kind of go for like a more like stealthy approach, where it's like, all right, they just like shadow drop the game, and then they start being more involved in doing all this cool kind of bombastic stuff later on. But like this is all just coming out before the game comes out for one big push, and like that's not even to talk about any of the other stuff, because I'm sure that you guys are cooking some great stuff for when the set releases. So yeah, I commend both of you just for making appearances, letting yourself be known and heard, and just kind of feeling included, as Xander was saying, included with the rest of the community, and not just the entity or the company that makes the game and just like everyone else is below below them, kind of just like the company watching down on all the players. It's it feels like you guys are kind of adding yourself into the mix, and being a part of the community as well. So great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we've been invaded by another co-host podcaster. That's going to be Mr. James Skeff. He somehow got through the airlock and the robot droids we set up, but it's okay. He's here.
Can't stop this beard. This beard is unstoppable.
Yeah, the beard is fists.
You can't see it, but it is very impressive. I promise you.
You're not a Force user, are you?
No, I'd be more related to the Wookiee race than anything.
Okay, this makes way more sense. So, how you doing, man? How have you been?
I'm doing better than I deserve. Excited about the Star Wars Unlimited since Gen Con. So, yeah, this has been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Like, kudos to Jeremy Xander, the entire crew. Want to say, like, been playing FFG games since X-Wing days, like 2013 now. So, but of every game you've ever released, what you've done and put into the upcoming release of this game, hands down the most impressive thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you so much.
Now, you've got a question for Xander that I think is going to make a lot of collectors very interested.
Yeah, let's go
I want
ahead
to
and
hear this one.
Let me go tap into my bit of being a degenerate side here of just cracking packs endlessly. As like Jim Cartwright says, like I'm going to order pallets of product. So I was curious, the concept of this insane showcase, which I think is one every 12 boxes of hitting one. We don't know how many you're going to have in the set. I have a guess of how many things you're going to have in the set, but one of X of one of every 12 boxes is an insane hit rate. I was curious, where did that idea come from? And like, who kind of like, we should make an insane case hit so everyone has to buy and open this insane product for like this great search and hunt of a card.
Yeah. I know Jeremy can jump in a little bit about this on maybe who came up with it, but I know at least why the idea is there, which is, we've talked about our C3OP or organized play plan, which is, connect, collect, compete. Are our big three. And so, in OP, it's obvious that we want to organize things around, connecting with the community, casual play, all those different pieces where you go to your local store and get to hang out with people, play the game, enjoy yourself, try different formats. And then we also have, the competing side, those that really want that part of a TCG where you're going head to head at like the highest level, going for major prizes and things like that. And it's going to be super exciting. But we also, again, have the third part, which is the collectors. And this is obviously a nod to all the collectors out there that are looking for a game that there are those huge chase cards. Because like you said, 1 in 12 boxes. I know I'm going to be on the hunt for one as well. I'm not going to get greedy and say I'm going to look for more than one. I'm just hoping for one. But
you might know somebody, right? You might know.
I'm hoping I know somebody. But yeah, so it's one of those things where there's what are those collectors working towards? If they're trying to collect all these different cards and variants of cards, what is that holy grail like for world or for a galactic championship for the competitive side, or your store showdown on the casual side? What is that top tier prizing? And it makes sense to have, these really cool versions of the centerpiece of your deck. So if you pull one and you do want to play, you can show off this amazing piece that only a few people are going to have that one. I don't know the number, but it's going to be something really special to be able to show off in your collection or while you're playing. And it's almost like a symbol of like, wow, I've really dove in as a collector of this game, and this is why it's important to me. And again, it's the centerpiece of your deck. There's so many leaders in the game over the sets, and so it's really cool to have like this person that you really either like their style of play or that character is important to you. And to have that be the representation of that card is really cool.
Yeah, I think one of the big things about showcase cards is we want something to really generate excitement when you open packs. So something that's just really cool moments when it happens. So leaders are integral to the game. They're very important. You get to choose one to build your deck around. They start and play. They're very cool, iconic Star Wars characters. They're pretty easy to get, normal leaders. There's, one per pack. A bunch are common. So we wanted something really cool to and encourage people to keep playing the game, finding cool stuff. So when you open packs, leaders quite easy to get, but we wanted an alternate take on that, where a really cool version that's very special and different, and then very memorable when you do get one. So they're still just mechanically identical to the normal versions. So we don't want to make sure they're restricted by doing exclusive mechanical cards like that or anything. So it's all pretty much upside. You get the leaders normally pretty easily, but then these showcase versions are just purely extra. If you do get one, it's a really cool, awesome moment you want you tell your friends or, go post online, look what I got, and be able to play that card is really fun to be able to sit down and have your showcase card right in front of you when you have hopefully your favorite character, ideally. And yeah, it's just a way to generate more really cool excitement for the game.
No, I like it. It truly is. Like I'm a big fan. Like other people have talked about it, but I'm like, as soon as you released that, I was like, oh no, there goes all my money. All right, we know where it's going now. All right, phenomenal. All right, here we go.
And you just empowered somebody.
Yeah, right. It's about to go down. We're gonna crack these packs like Willy Wonka.
And you only seen one showcase, so which leader so far are you like most excited to see that showcase? The next
it'll be Palpatine.
Thrawn.
Palpatine. Palpatine.
I don't know about that. Is he a leader? Who knows, right?
Blink. Wait. Blink twice if I'm right.
Yeah, also, the fact that the showcase
this is audio.
How do we know?
Oh no.
Yeah, but also the fact that the showcase is your leader card as well, where it's not like a single card that's like shotted or slotted and shuffled into the deck. It's like, the showcase is like this to be like the literal showcase of the game. It's like you're front and center on your game board. It's like
with the game Genic box that's in there as well.
Yeah. Right, I pulled the 1 and 12, right. It's just
I am happy I don't have to shuffle that. That does make me happy. I don't have to shuffle that 1 and 12 box card. That would be. Why is one card of your deck in a top loader? Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I'm gonna keep shuffling it. Don't worry about that card.
No, that sucker's gonna be slabbed like PSA 10
in the deck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love it. I'm really excited. I have a guess. I think it's gonna be like 4 or 6 showcases, but that's just my guess. Like kind of like one for each color. But I'm excited to see when you guys finally do reveal what one looks like in person. I'm like biting at the teeth, waiting for like what a foil looks like and what a showcase looks like in person.
Oh yeah, that's right. You said in the article there's a different kind of foiling on those cards. Ooh.
Yeah. I'm very excited for us to show those off. And the new year is right around the corner, so get excited. We will be showing off foil at some point here in the new year.
Finally, foil. Finally.
Oh, I know. I finally seen one in the office, and it's it was awesome. So get excited.
I'm excited. I'm ready. I am ready. I'm sitting down.
All right. Well, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to have some Star Wars Unlimited spoilers with a live reaction because Jeremy and Xander have some stuff to tell us about. We don't know what it is, so stay tuned and we'll be right back. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of TCG Cast. We appreciate each and every one of our listeners for joining us on this week's episode. If you'd like to help the show out, definitely make sure to follow us on our social media accounts such as Twitter and Facebook at TCG Cast. Also, you can help support the show by picking up your trading card game accessories and singles at our sponsor, alchemistrefuge.shop. This is one of our favorite places to pick up cards for Lorcana, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and soon, Star Wars Unlimited. All the information and more will be in the show notes. So thanks again for joining us, and let's get back into this episode. All right, welcome back, everybody. Now is the fun time. We are going to get told what some of these new cards are. We don't know anything. Just to preface, we don't know absolutely anything. We are going to get a full reveal here. So we're going to kick it off with Xander. You've got the first. What is this card you want to reveal to all of the listeners?
Yeah, so this is one that I personally really enjoy. This is called the Pirated Starfighter. It is a space unit, as you would assume. It is a 2-cost cunning unit. It's 2 power and 4 HP with the underworld, vehicle, and fighter traits. And any guess, a Pirated Starfighter, what it might do?
Tap a resource? No, that's way too powerful.
Ooh.
That's way too, but no, it's a 2 for a 2/4. That's already phenomenal for the ratio cost.
It is. Has to have some sort of drawback, right?
It has. Like, you have to tap one of your own characters to play it?
You're very close. So it's got raid 1. So it's actually, on offense, a 3/4.
It's a 3/4.
But when played, you have to return a friendly non-leader unit.
I am close. All right.
Yeah. So, that has to be a friendly non-leader unit, including that unit. So if this is the first unit you play, you would have to return this one to its hand. So it's not really a turn 1 play by any means, but it is one of those ones where if you have a really strong on play or when played ability, you might be able to, get another use out of it if you've got the resources and the know-how to do it. So it's really fun for that. Or it's, return something that's damaged to hand and then play it again fully healed.
You can do this with Bodhi, you monster.
Yeah, so it's super fun. I think it's really fun to play. And a lot of cunning when played abilities can hit, and it makes it really fun to just get a little extra juice out of some of those cards.
Oh my god, it works really well with shielded characters too, because you can. Oh no.
There's lots of stuff.
Oh my god. Oh, yeah.
Really good. It's a really, really good card.
Wow.
Especially Cunning has a lot of one-turn drops.
Well, and
one call.
It's a healer because all that damage that was stacked on, it just falls right off when you return the card to your hand.
It's a healer that's also a 2/4 with raid 1, so it's
2/4 with raid 1.
I do have one question. If you return one of your units back to your hand, and that unit has an upgrade, does the upgrade go back into your hand?
No, it's defeated.
Okay.
Ooh, black one got real good.
Yeah, there may be upgrades that your opponent plays on your units. Those would be defeated. So in some ways, that can be a good thing.
Okay. That's true. Yeah, if there are negative upgrades on that unit, then that's one way to get rid of it. Okay, but you can't. All right, cool.
Yeah, somebody entrenches your favorite character. Maybe you're both.
Right. You just put it back in your hand. You get untap it. Like if someone plays the outmaneuver Sugi, I'm going to play this card and put the card back in my hand.
Did you just say you could play upgrades on other people's units?
Yes. I guarantee there'll be upgrades that give you this character now has -2, -2, and you can play it on any unit.
Okay, this just got it. Man, there's actually a lot of tricks you can do. Oh, I like that.
That's what it's cunning.
It's a 2-costed cunning. Is it? Is that it? Like it's not hero or villain?
Yep, just cunning, so you can throw it in your way.
Oh, it's a neutral. Oh my gosh.
You go ahead and return that Leia back in your hand and then play it again to tap more things.
Do not do that. Just stop.
That seems really good. Why wouldn't I just?
I have had that Leia turn off my Vader and Palpatine way too many times.
Phenomenal. No, it's so good. Leia just points and laughs at your Vader.
No,
phenomenal. The strongest thing in the galaxy. Leia just haha.
Negative, Captain. You're breaking up. I can't hear you. You're not coming over the comms. Wow. What's the rarity on that card?
That is an uncommon card.
Oh boy!
Wow! Oh my gosh! What in the world?
How are we feeling about that draft?
Yeah, 3/4 for 2 seems good. Seems really good for draft.
It's tricky because it's a combo piece. You need some load. I mean, it's good.
You can draft some one-cost thing,
right? You can't bounce your leader. That makes sense.
Also, you can use any color in draft, can't you? No, you have to use the same 3 colors. Never mind.
That is a good question. Can we talk about that? The colors for draft, is it just standard 2?
Yeah, we could talk about that. It's the same deck building restrictions as.
Yeah, so just whatever colors your leader and
base
location have is what your base.
Okay,
yes, base and leader. That's what you get for the draft.
Each booster pack has a base and a leader, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you'll be able to get whatever you need out of that combination. Wow, man, a 2-drop cycler. That's nutty.
I thought you all would enjoy that one. I told you I wasn't going to let you down when I picked up.
I did. My brain is like, all the options.
My God, you can recycle regional governor, and you can just make. Oh my God! So for those who don't know, regional governor is a 2-drop blue card that says when played, name a card. While this unit is in play, opponents can't play that named card. So if you find out that they just don't have that card, you could play this cunning card. Recycle the governor back to your hand, play it again, name another card, and now they're just locked out of the game. It's basically a pithing needle from Magic. Oh, that's so nasty. Wow.
You also bounce your Cantina bouncer to bounce their units back.
Yeah, you could do a bouncer.
Bounce.
ISB agent just got really nasty too.
Just more damage.
Yeah.
It's a great. It's cunning. Like Jeremy said it best. It's just I can do many things right now.
Oh my God. General Tog. You could give experience token up to 3 trooper units. Just play it next turn, bounce it, play it again. I was here's just 6 experience tokens casually. Just
Ooh. Yeah. It'll cost you 6. That's really good.
That's just nasty. Okay. It's a combo enabler. I love it. All right. Yeah, I'm jamming. Okay, I've already got some of my deck ideas going. I need to stop. We'll never get out of here. Jeremy, what is the second card you guys have got for us today?
Yes.
Come on, Jar Jar Binks.
No.
Not yet.
Please, God.
Yes, not yet.
No. Do not. No.
Shh.
This is called Force Throw.
Ooh.
Come on, be like Destiny.
It's a 1-cost event. It's a single aggression aspect. It's uncommon. You guys, like Xander said, you want to take any guesses what it does?
You choose one of your units, and then you defeat that unit, and it deals damage to an opponent's unit
Equal to its power.
equal to its power.
Ooh.
That's my guess as well.
All right. Yeah, not far off. All right, use the text. Choose a player. That player discards a card from their hand. Then, if you control a force unit, you may deal damage to a unit equal to the cost of the discarded card.
Wow.
That seems really good when you play like an 8 attack space unit for 1.
Oh my god.
That seems good. Seems good.
Cost of 1 too.
I'm gonna deal. We gotta have a force unit play though. Force unit has to be in play.
Right.
For the second part, yes.
For the second
damage
half.
part. The first half, that player will discard a card of their choice in their hand, no matter what. But then the second half, you need a force unit.
Man,
Well,
that
worst
is
case, it's a 1-cost 1-for-1, and then it's just all
Free
gravy.
damage.
You have a 4. Yeah, it's free damage. I really like that card. That's
oh my
cool.
gosh, that's
Is it aggression, but just red, right? Just single red.
A single aggression, yes.
oh, you can go on
Okay.
either side, both
Yeah,
cards.
the red orb. Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's good because you want to have those staple like 1-drop event cards for hero or villainy. That's phenomenal. It's a great 1-drop. Great aggressive 1-drop.
That is disgusting. Okay, so I think about this. Think about this. You've got Bodhi, who's a 3-cost double cunning. So if you're doing different aspect color, it's going to cost you 5. He says when he's played, look at an opponent's hand and discard a non-unit card from it. So you can slowly pick out non-unit cards. Then you could play the spaceship we just talked about to put him back into your hand and play him again. And then say you're building like a hand control with like Vader, something else, who knows. You can use Force Throw to force them to ditch a card. And then with Vader online, you've potentially already been blowing out cards from their hand using Bodhi loops. And then they're just trapped with really good high-end cards. Oh, that's nasty. And it's 1. It's just out of nowhere. Hey, you lose a card, I lose a card. Oh, man. And it can,
Wait, both people lose a card?
so
No.
I mean, like you play the
Well,
force throw from your hand, and then the
Right.
opponent loses a card. So it's a net 0. You don't like
Okay.
force them to discard
So-
2,
Okay.
but like for 1 resource, you're just chewing out their options. And then if you use cards like Bodhi, where you get to look at their hand and strip away non-unit cards, that just gets more and more aggressive, and you're limiting the options the opponent has, because if they have like 4 cards in their hand and then use Bodhi, now they have 3 cards in their hand, and then use Force Throw, now they have 2 cards in their hand. You are severely pulling away, their options. They're essentially at 50% capacity from where they were at the start of the turn. It's pretty gross.
It can be very gross. There was one moment I was playing against Danny a while back. He had an Avenger in play, of course. Yeah, massive, huge, powerful unit. You need to get rid of it. Otherwise, you'll probably lose the game pretty quickly. But I was able to stall the game long enough. I had Force Throw in my hand for quite a while. I was waiting until trying to get him down to a single card in hand. That way, he's forced to maybe have a huge, expensive card in hand that can deal a lot of damage. So wait until the right moments, till he has a single card left. So I play Force Throw. I had my Force unit in play, and then force him to discard a card, a 10-cost card to immediately deal 10 damage to Avengers. So I was like, that felt great.
Oh my god! Because you also have think about cunning. So it's the 4-cost event. One of the options is opponent discards a random card from their hand. There's a lot of ways to get cards out of the opponent hand. What else is there? Oh, Spark of Rebellion. Look at an opponent's hand, discard a card from it, a 2-cost. So I mean, depending on the curve, you could do a 2-cost, discard a card, a 3-cost, Bodhi, a 4-cost, cunning. They're not holding on to many cards, and then you just pop them with a Force Throw, and their hand is just toast. That's disgusting. Wow. Did you design that card?
I don't remember that one. It might have been by committee, or else, someone else did it.
Okay.
But yeah, it was definitely a top down. You try to throw something at a unit. Instead of throwing a unit at a unit, it's just, a card in hand, or potentially if you have a force unit to take the card and throw it at this unit and take a bunch of damage.
I just love the fact you have so many different tools to combo that, because there's ways to return cards back to the opponent's hand, and if that's the only card they have, then you can Force Throw it right back into them. But I mean, at the worst, it's still 1-for-1. Like hand control, I never thought you would do that so early in a set. I'm very impressed that you're going very cool control options where you can have like mid-range control, you can have damage control like with removal threats, and then just interesting hand control with, like Bodhi is great. I'm super much in love with Bodhi, but like you have Bodhi, Spark of Rebellion, Cunning, so many ways to strip your opponent's hand of options and just keep them really low to the ground on threats. And then, if they just happen to have a big card in their hand, about it because you're playing Thrawn or whatever. Just throw it at their face. Cool beans. Woohoo.
Yeah, this game we do draw 2 cards around. So, usually want to resource one of those cards, but not always. So, hand discard can be strong, but your opponent can draw 2 cards around, keep them, not resource. So, generate twice as much as a lot of other card games do. So, it can be good, but, you can also draw back up fairly easily as well. So it's definitely a fine balance. You don't want to push hand disruption too much. That can be very, it just feels bad to play against. But we also want to have tools there for potential, whatever decks might arise, combo decks, or who knows, just have options there for players to have it on hand if they think they need them.
I love it. Thank you so much for bringing those cards to the show. I really appreciate just how synergistic and really fun they are.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And they're in the best aspects, just saying.
Hold on, wait. Hold up.
Sorry.
Hold up now. Oh, you're going to start a civil war here, man.
They are correct. That is an accurate statement.
No. What? No love for vigilance? Blue?
1A, 1B of speed and power, and then the rest kind of just fall in line.
I'm just letting you know, if you lose to me at Worlds because you bring that and I bring this, I'm just going to remind you of this recording right here, right now.
I know. I'll make sure to let you hold the trophy.
Oh no. Cunning vigilance. Those are the cards, my man. Those are the colors. Blue yellow control all the way. Gross. All right, well, let's get back into the questions. We've got a couple more before we get on out of here. Mr. Reimer, I know you've got another one, so why don't you take the lead here?
So outside of geeking out about TCGs, I'm also a designer in tech. So I design software and apps. You guys design cards. So I'm always curious about just like the story behind cards and basically how they got to their final state. I'm curious if there are any of the revealed cards that were entirely different before. Either they were broken or they just weren't good enough, and sort of the story of how they became how they are today. Either like the interactions that led to making it simpler, making it stronger, making it weaker. Any cards that stand out?
There's a number of them. I think some of the cards that had seen the most changes throughout the course of design development would be the legendary events that are the namesakes, the vigilance, command, aggression, cunning cards. Each of those cards has 4 different abilities, so it's a lot of dials a turn. So we try a lot of different variations of, I believe, all 4 cards throughout the course. Lots of different effects, numbers, and whatnot. One of them used to cost less. There's only 3 costs. Another one costs 5 costs. I mean, abilities were different, of course, different values or sometimes different effects. So those ones kind of all over the place through the course of testing. Eventually, we wanted to make it feel more cohesive as a whole, as a cycle. So having them all be 4 costs, all have 4 different abilities, felt natural, and to really show off what the aspects can do. Very defining cards that encourage players to play, a single aspect. Since it's very easy to build a deck with multiple aspects. We want to have enough cards to encourage players to at least try building decks with a single aspect to do that. And these cards, we feel, hopefully have done that. So I think, some turned out maybe a little better than others, but they're very exciting cards. Some are quite powerful. And they went through, lots and lots of changes. Like, I lost track how many times they changed those effects and numbers on those cards. But all in all, I think if they end up in a fairly good spot, definitely would. We'll see in the end how they play as a whole with the full card pool revealed. But those ones went through a number of changes. Love it.
I'm curious, were there any characters that, iconic characters like Vader or Luke, any of those that had a similar journey? Or is it mostly kind of the aspect-specific cards?
No, there's definitely characters as well. Definitely Luke units went through a number of changes. Even Luke leader definitely went through some changes as well. Luke units probably more changes, trying to find something that felt very, very epic, legendary, very Luke. Jedi Luke especially. So, I went through quite a few redesigns and major tweaks and changes until we came up with the current version.
Love that. Were Luke and Vader the leaders from the starter deck? Were they designed together so that like one obviously does a shield, one does a ping damage, so they kind of are balanced there? Or was that sort of just coincidental that the two of them just work together like that?
Oh, that was definitely intentional. Yeah, from the get-go, we wanted something like that, feel more interactive, more trading back and forth, kind of almost like lightsaber fight in some ways, or dueling. So yeah, there's definitely intentional from the get-go, and I think they turned out pretty well.
Love it.
All right, so our last question for the show is something that I think is probably one of the most interesting things about Star Wars Unlimited, and that is the ground arena and the space arena. So for people who don't know, if you're versed in trading card games, you think about like Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, generally you're playing on a singular field. You play your resources in one lane and you play your characters and cards and a Pokemon, whatever, in another lane. And there's just kind of player on player action. In Star Wars Unlimited, you both have a base with a health total that you're trying to whittle down. You have a space arena where you can only play space units. You have a ground arena where you can only play ground units. And then you have a little zone in the middle where your leader is just there with a passive ability. And then if you hit a certain threshold, you can take an epic action and bring that leader onto the battlefield as a ground unit. So the question I've got is, where did that idea come from? Because it's quite different from a majority of trading card games. Usually, like I said earlier, you're kind of playing on a singular plane of existence. And this game has 2.5 if you count the leader in their little leader zone. But like, you actually have to build your deck around, do I bring more ground units? Do I bring more space units? Do I focus completely on a space deck or a ground deck or a hybrid? Or there's so many different deck building opportunities, and then actually playing that out is absolutely fascinating. I think very, very diverse.
Yeah, that came about something right away. Like one core thing is theme and trying to show that off as best we can. And Star Wars has tremendous scale. You can a little Ewok on the ground compared to massive capital ship out in space. Like we want to encapsulate as much of that as we could. So in order to do that, it felt natural to at least have some sort of division between the very small units compared to massive ships. So it's pretty natural. It's just like two different zones, two different arenas, one that's focused on the ground, one in space. And yeah, I also love kind of games that have a spatial aspect, some a little bit different where you have multiple zones or whatnot. So I was a huge fan of that from the get-go to try something like that in this game. And yeah, it also leads, like you said, lots of cool, interesting decisions of just deck building, how many ground units versus space units, and then cards that can ignore arenas, just even just events that deal damage to any unit in play. Like you get to choose what zone to maybe focus on or to react to what your opponent's doing. But yeah, it came right away. Mostly one of the biggest things was theme, just to help show that off. But also, yeah, like a lot of us are fans of games with spatial aspects, and this seemed like a perfect chance to incorporate that into this game. And yeah, it is a little bit different. Some games have done in the past, but much more games have, like you said, just a universal single zone. And so this is a fun way to do something a little bit different and also incorporate theme in a pretty good way.
Awesome. Well, before we get on out of here, does anyone have any last questions before we wrap up this episode?
Yes. So the Leia Showcase card, the set's 250 cards, but the Leia Showcase card is number 260. I don't have a question. I would just make a statement. That's all. I was just curious. Just pointing out things.
Oh my God, fishing.
If you want to just fishing for things, that's all.
No, they're not going to answer that. They're not going to answer that. These are trained professionals.
I just want to make a statement. Just statement was made that there was a weird number. That was it.
That's a good thing to notice. That's what I can say about that.
Right?
You know that.
Good observation. Good job.
Right? This Wookiee can learn.
They're just.
They already told us January and beyond is what we're looking for.
Right? January. Can't wait.
All right. Well, before we get on out of here, I want to kick it one last time back to Xander and Jeremy. Is there anything else you guys want to let our listeners know about Star Wars Unlimited? Especially tell us a little bit more about like the date, where we can pick stuff up, because we've got a lot of people who may or may not know about Star Wars Unlimited, and they want to get a little bit more information on where they can get their hands on this stuff, where they can start playing, and what to expect maybe at a casual or an OP level.
Yeah. So the game is Star Wars Unlimited. Unlimited. The website is also StarWarsUnlimited.com. So all of our articles go live on there. We'll have more things going live in the new year on that website. But right now it's mainly just articles putting out a little information about the game and what you can expect. You can also follow us for all of our card reveals and also articles and any other news at Unlimited FFG. It's what it is on all of our socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And so, yeah, I think we'll be chatting more in the new year about organized play and what that looks like and some of the kits and things like that. We have actual products in the studio that we'll be able to, open up on stream and talk about in articles and things. And so I would just leave on the note that, make sure you're following us. And the new year is going to be even more fun than we've already had. And it's been a really great ride so far. So thanks everybody for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, hopefully Xander will dream into some more events and get to see you in person.
That's the plan. Yeah. We got some.
Have you guys announced any upcoming events yet?
We have a full list of events on our website. We have a schedule of them, and we're going to keep that updated through past launch as well.
Phenomenal.
And so, yeah, if you are ever curious about where you might be able to catch us at a big event, that'll be the first place that we announce it is in that article. That'll just keep getting updated. And I was also going to just mention that, if you're curious about the game, you're already hooked, hearing Jeremy talk about it and the passion that we've got behind the project has got you hooked and you're ready to order, go talk to your local game store. That's where we're really pushing the game. We want you to, be a part of the community there. So that's where you can find it. And pre-release is March 1st, followed by the full release on March 8th.
That is not far away. Oh my gosh.
It is not. Yeah, Jeremy's stuff on set 1 is already done. And that's what they're like, oh yeah, we're just excited for it to happen. I was like, I got so much work to do before March hits. So it's going to be fun though.
That is going to be a lot of fun. Well, thank you again so much for coming on. We are very grateful, and we hope to see you guys soon, either in person or on another podcast. But yeah, everybody go check out Fantasy Flight Games, Star Wars Unlimited. We are going to be playing a lot. James Skeff is going to be breaking a lot of boxes, and we'll just, I guess, buy what his
so many YouTube videos of a box.
Yeah, we'll get his leftovers. There we are.
Yeah, we'll buy your bulk, Skeff. Don't worry, we got you.
Yes, I will have lots of bulk to move.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us here on TCG Cast, our pilot episode where we are gunning through the Star Wars galaxy, talking about an amazing game coming out in just a few months. We will see everyone very soon. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of TCG Cast. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media at TCG Cast on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And if you're looking to pick up a brand new set of trading card game singles or accessories, go check out our sponsor, alchemistrefuge.shop. This is where we pick up all of our supplies, and we highly recommend you should too. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode. We'll see everybody next time. And remember, play games and have fun.
One.